I just want to go over super quick if you are struggling to bring in some traffic on your Etsy and maybe it has been really high and then it dropped really low. Sometimes what I do, and I try not to do this too often because I already have a buy two, save 30 and buy five, save 50 just bundle discount to where it automatically applies in the cart. But every now and again, if I will have a lot of traffic and a lot of sales and then it just completely dies overnight for 3 or 4 days, I will just come in and do some 24-hour sales. I did it for the rest of this week just because I had a really, really good week the last week of May. And then it's today is the 8th of June, and it has been a very, very, very slow beginning of June for me. Some of that is just because I was testing things in my shop and I should not have done so. Anytime that you do anything that's going to be a big change, it's going to mess with the algorithm with your shop. If you have 700 listings and then now you're down to 531, then, you're gonna lose your traction there. So what I'm trying to do is go ahead and get my single PNGs back up because a lot of them I had just moved into a bundle and then I realized that the bundles were not selling. And then I'm just gonna do a 35% off every single day. The reason why I do it every day is because it'll show like, oh, it's the sale is ending in this many hours. And then it'll pop back, the next day, the 24 hours, and that just kinda helps. I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily say I know the buyer psychology behind all of it other than just it creates an urgency, and for whatever reason, when I tend to do these, it's like Etsy just bumps me. I get more visits and more views, and that is really what's lacking for this first week. So it's already working. I did this, I wanna say late last night. I've already gotten a good bit of sales today, and that is just something that I do every now and again. I try not to be the shop that always has something on sale because I do feel that 1, that's like a race to the bottom in pricing, but also 2, I have a very diverse price point. I have, like, my 2026 drive, and that is all of my products from the year of 2026, all my layered alphas and things like that, my digital papers, my clip art, my Procreate stamps. And then I also have, anywhere from a $25 product to a $10 product to a $5 product. And then my single PNGs, I try to do from $3 to $5. So having that big of a range with pricing when I do the sales, I don't necessarily lose a whole bunch of money because I don't have very, very, very low things, and because most of my things are digital, well, all of this in this shop is digital, then that is mostly profit after, the fees and everything comes out. So, I wouldn't necessarily do this if you have a very, very low items. Like, if you have everything listed at a dollar and you're trying to run a 35% off sale, like, you're barely covering your fees. I know a lot of shops will do that when they're new just to get a lot of orders and get that, have Etsy show them enough, get all the orders, get all the reviews, and then they bump them up to $3 to $5. But I would not do that for my shop. I haven't done that for my shop. So that is what I do. So that's one of the things that I do to increase my sales. I figured you guys would want to hear about that and know that. I know that sometimes you guys will see me post that I have a sale going. I try to stick it to like holidays and, maybe we have events in the house or something like that where it's like a birthday or anniversary or something and we like to run a sale. But if traffic is slow and I want to get the Etsy kind of just going again, this is what I do. So I'll run a few sales over just, the course of 3 to 5 days, and I usually don't do a 50% because for whatever reason, and I did post this in the Skool community, and I've gotten a few different, um, feedback for that with different of the different people in my group, but for me, my bundles don't sell as well as my singles for, like, my PNGs. The bundle discount sells really well, but the I sell more of the buy 2, save 30 and get a lot more profit from that than I do the buy 5, save 50, which just is crazy to me, but it is. It's how my shop works. Same thing for my sales. I did a 35% off. That does really well. If I do a 50% off, I sell nothing. It's like my entire shop just goes dead for a couple of days. So we didn't want that to happen, right? Because I'm trying to boost the traffic. So I've done enough of those to see that they don't convert for my shop for whatever reason. But it was very interesting because I had some people in the Skool community that were like, "Hey, I'm complete opposite. Mine is I sell more at the 50% and I sell more bundles and I don't really sell singles." So it was just interesting to me. I have noticed that sports are kicking off. Back to school is selling like crazy, and everybody's finishing up any kind of 4th of July purchasing things that they were doing. So for now, for me, what I'm seeing that's selling right now as of June 8th, 2026 is, we're into summer, well into summer now. Back to school is going to be in August, so you got to go ahead and get those done if you don't have them done. And then sports. So I mean, you're going to have a little bit, you're going to have people doing travel ball and things in the summer. Then as soon as school starts back in August for most people, maybe September 1st for others, then you're going to have sports kick back up. We already have Halloween selling, we have Christmas selling, so just a few little tidbits there for you guys to help increase some sales and get everything going. And also, don't be a dummy like me. I know better, and yet I still do this more than I should. I make too many changes at once, and it drops my shop. So what I had done is instead of just deactivating one or two or just leaving them up and doing bundles, I had removed most of my singles here and then I just made a bundle. So my bundles right here, and I did bump those up to $10 because I had them at $5 and they weren't selling. So I'm like, you know what? We'll bump them up as a bundle. I'll link the bundles in the individual PNGs. But it's crazy to me unless people are just looking for a specific design that they want for them or they just have very specific names. But I have not sold this and I don't know how long. And yet I just started listing them individually again and they're selling, they're getting favorites. It's crazy to me, but it there's logic behind it somewhere, right? So, whether that is someone doesn't want the full bundle because they don't wanna deal with a bunch of files, if they just want a very specific one, or if it's just, "Okay, I'm ranking for that very specific phrase versus the bundle phrase." Maybe I'm higher up in search for the PNGs. We shall see, but I did go ahead and do that. So that's some of the changes that I've done today just to get everything boosted. I figured you guys would want to hear about that. I know you've had a lot of questions about Etsy and how I do all the things Etsy. So that is one of them just to kind of get things going. I do not suggest to run ads. I don't even run ads anymore in my shop because as soon as I turn the ads off, my shop tanks and I don't want to just pay for traffic if I'm already getting a ton of organic traffic and I'm getting sales organically, there's really no reason for me to run ads and then just waste all of that revenue. But I wouldn't run ads to your shop, especially if you're new, because it's not going to do what you're wanting it to do. If you start with a listing that hasn't sold and it doesn't have a listing quality score, nobody's purchased it, they haven't left reviews on it to show Etsy that it's a good listing, then the ads are really not going to help unless you have done a lot of shops before, or maybe you're bringing in your own traffic to where your sales are just popping off immediately. So that I really just wouldn't suggest to run Etsy ads. To me, it's just kind of a money trap. I'm not saying it doesn't work for some people, but for my shop specifically, it does not. So you'll just have to make that decision. But for the ones that have just started their Etsy's and they're new, I wouldn't do ads to try to boost any of your sales right now. So if you guys are new, you're just setting up or you're very early on selling, be consistent, sell what's trending. So I did a later video yesterday on marketplace insights and using Etsy, and then you can cross reference that with eRank or Everbee or whatever other software tool you want to use to see what's trending and what is selling really well. So I hope that this helps, guys, and just let me know in the comments if you have any more questions or if you need a separate video on something different Etsy related.